What's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. BobbyFi with my man Eric Sheets Haber. We are going to be going through the slate tonight for the NBA. Hopefully you guys did well last night. I actually had a good night. I only played on FanDuel, as I talked about on live, because I couldn't edit my DraftKings lineups, and it just very frustrating stuff trying to figure it out with them. Don't know really what to do, but gonna plan on playing on DraftKings tonight, so we're still gonna go through DraftKings and do our usual thing. But it is it's a little frustrating, to be honest with you, just to not be able to. But I did do really well, so I can't complain too much, although I had some nice builds on DK. It could have been something. Anyway, Sheets, what did you end up doing last night? What do you think about the tonight's slate?
Yeah, I mean, I did okay. I mean, I lost money because I had one big buy-in that didn't cash. And when the big buy-in doesn't cash, you need to do really well in the other ones. So the other ones made money, but not to make up for the big buy-in, and just didn't quite get enough right. I mean, nothing particularly bad, but the new optimizer and whatever, I played in cash and won all the double ups and stuff. So that was good.
Well, now we can say it's officially the only optimizer in the industry that is 100% effective.
That's correct.
100% cash rate.
That is correct. So I think I'm not going to play anymore. That's going to solve that problem. So let's see what we got today. I think look, today is a 3-game slate and tomorrow is a 13-game slate.
It's going to be very different strategies between these two slates.
And yet I guarantee this 3-game slate is going to give us our share of stress also. Just because of the way the games are laid out too. But then again, I mean, I don't know. Let's see. So like right off the bat with Milwaukee, Philadelphia. Anybody questionable? Anybody worth mentioning? What do you like over here?
Well, I think this is going to be where everybody's going to play Giannis and Portis. I think Portis is going to be incredibly popular. And I love Bobby Portis, as you know. He's a fantasy machine and seems to be basically getting, I don't want to say his minutes back. He was playing like 24 minutes a game last year, but this, without the bigs, without, obviously there's no, what's his name in the way right now? The big man, Brook Lopez, is gone or out. And then no Middleton. So it's going to make Bobby Portis minutes, a lot higher. It's a tough fade, but when Bobby Portis is really high owned, because he's got some volatility. By the way, whatever it's worth, Milwaukee was at the White House yesterday, so that was their day getting, the White House after they won the title and everything. I'm not saying that it's going to have anything or they had a huge party afterwards. I'm just saying it's something you could actually think is a possibility. If you try and find reasons to fade ultra chalk, because I think that you're going to have four or five players at 25% or higher owned from Milwaukee until we hear about more. And the other thing I want to remind everybody is things come up these days that never came up before, like Tyrese Halliburton, with the weird late scratch yesterday, which threw that sort of up in the air. It made De'Aaron Fox a much better play than he was already. Things like that. So playing the first game can sometimes be, a little bit dangerous, but at the same time, it's hard not to have Giannis as an automatic plug and play. And I think if you're playing cash, you would have Bobby Portis as an automatic play. I'm sort of interested in Drew Holiday. He was one of the original guys that helped build the what's the word I'm trying to look for Philadelphia, the process. He was like the first guy traded from the existing decent Philadelphia team, and a little revenge factor never hurts. So Drew Holiday getting a little more comfortable maybe. So I'm interested in everybody at the top, but I think Giannis is the only one I know for sure I'll be playing. I definitely am going to have some Bobby Portis exposure. Don't get me wrong. But Giannis, Holiday, I think George Hill is still going to be fairly popular because his minutes seem to stay the same, basically, but I don't think I want to go there. So Giannis and Holiday are probably my two favorites, with Bobby Portis, only because Bobby Portis is going to be 70% owned, that I'll be a little bit lower on him. And then Grayson Allen is certainly in play as well. But only one I know for sure is Giannis, and I will have some Holiday. How about you?
Well, I mean, you got to talk about, the whole thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I started off with the one side.
The whole thing is chalk. Portis at a zillion %, and then Andre Drummond at a zillion.
I'm not playing Andre Drummond tonight. Yeah.
What's that?
I don't think I'm playing Andre Drummond tonight. They're going to play a 10-man rotation. They said there's too many minutes they played last night. I think my initial feeling is I don't want to play Andre Drummond tonight, but maybe I'll change my mind. I don't know. I guess the thing is weird. They say they want to play a 10-man rotation because they played too many guys minutes last night, but that they played 10 guys, I believe. Maybe they played 9 last night. But you can expect everybody on Philly's team to have have a slight lower minutes, play slightly less minutes than they played last night, than they're projected for. That's what I would say about this game. And And recency bias is probably going to have people off of guys like Shake Milton. And I think Shake Milton's a terrific play. So I like Drummond. Don't get me wrong, Drummond, it all makes sense. But maybe we can find a way to fade him. And by the way, not to say that this doesn't mean anything. I mean, he got there in the second half. He had 25 rebounds. The guy went completely nuts. That's an absurd rebound rate. But, low usage, rebound reliant. And he had 14 or 16 fantasy points at halftime, I believe it was. These are the excuses I'm trying to find to fade him. He's not like he's 5K anymore. He's 7,700. He's obviously a strong play, but I right now am going to try to find a way to fade him. I don't really, and other than Milton, I don't have anything revolutionary. I love Milton and Korkmaz for Philadelphia.
Okay. So I had 100% of Andre Drummond last night.
Yeah, that was great.
So I say that as background. And the other day I had like 80%, whatever. Bobby Portis also. Dude, I'm with you. I don't want to play him tonight either. You know me in the back-to-backs for openers, okay? Yeah. And back-to-backs in chalk doesn't seem to mix. He it took him till the second half to get there. And dude, like Embiid's not playing, right? He could play 26 minutes when this game gets freaking torched by the end of the third quarter. Right. like there's a lot of things that can happen to make this not work. And I got Paul George and Lillard and McCollum, and I got stuff I can do later if I feel like having fun. And I got Donovan Mitchell I could do. I got Trae Young. I mean, I got stuff I can do at much lower ownership on a freaking 3-game slate. And if I could somehow get this game to systematically disappear, considering the ownerships that it's going to be taking,
right,
on a 3-game slate, I'll try it. I don't know. Maybe it's bad advice, but
we should pull your screen up, by the way.
Oh yeah. Maybe that's a sign. Maybe it's bad advice, but I'm just gonna look. This is true DFS. So this is transparency, and I'll tell you right now that the top top 3. How many top values? I would say the top 6 values are coming from this game. Maybe 7 of the top 9. Drummond projects to be almost a lock. Portis projects to be extremely good. Korkmaz projects to be extremely good. And I just don't want to do it. I have literally no reason. I can give you a reason. It's going to be incredibly owned. It's a back-to-back. It's got a lot of systematic risk because of the blowout. And while you say, I don't project blowouts, you know what? I'm going to project the blowout if it's going to mean getting an 80% team off the board, So I'm not going to project it, but I can make a case for it.
Right.
And it's certainly within the range of outcomes. And I'm going to try it. In my big buy-in, I'm definitely not going to play both those guys, Drummond and Portis. That's not going to happen. And I very well might just fade the whole game, just in some scenarios. Or maybe I'll do what you do sometimes, like when we talk about baseball. Instead of just fading the whole thing, just take one-offs that are just not going to be the highest owned one-offs in this game or something like that, and hope that works. I don't know.
Well, I think it's interesting to speculate maybe tonight on guys who didn't get the minutes last night.
There you go.
Like Niang. He played 24.
Right.
Like Seth Curry played 40 minutes last night, and it's hard to play back-to-backs and play these many minutes and so much. Drummond played 38 minutes. I don't know if he's played 38 minutes in like 10 years. Then you've got what's his name? Milton only played 21 minutes. So, and then my other off the board one who it's going to sound and look ugly right now. It would have looked fine if we didn't have yesterday's 5 minutes, but the fact that he played 5 minutes and that they're going to be trying to, I think, limit some of the minutes. Doc Rivers, literally said that we played 2 minutes. We played these guys so many minutes. We can't play them those minutes anymore. So we're going to try and go to 10-minute rotation and let other guys play more. So Paul Reed will come into my off the board weirdness. That's one thing. Paul Reed, Niang, and Shake Milton are the ones who stood out as the not having played so many minutes. Danny Green on the second of a back-to-back after coming off an injury. That's a little thin to me. So I don't know. So that's sort of where I'm at. And it's odd that this game is only a 6-point spread. Like my initial thought is I would hammer Milwaukee here. I would bet on Milwaukee at -6. Yeah, and then on the other side, I think you do. I do think on the other side, you want to play at least one of Holiday, Giannis, or Portis, probably 2 of them.
That makes sense. I mean, I'll play. Look, because of 3-game slate, you need points. I have no problem playing the Giannis. I just don't want to play the Drummond and
right.
So because if it does blow out, Giannis is still getting his 50. You know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely. But yeah, so that's what I've got for this game. I think it's one we'll have to revisit later. I'm going to be doing it, guys. I'm probably going to be doing either up till I think that the plan right now I'll put it in the calendar for our site. I'll be at 6:30 Eastern time as of right now is my current plan. But if there's late breaking news, maybe I'll stay on a little bit longer.
I don't try. It's a 7:30 game, right? Okay.
Yeah, the first game is 7:30, so 6:30 Eastern tonight. All right, you ready to move on to the next one?
Yeah. So again, given everything I just said, right? I mean, none of the guys that I'm going to mention rate to be top plays, but these are like all the secondary plays to the Philadelphia Milwaukee value, right? So, boy, oh boy, Bojan Bogdanovic, maybe. Boy, it's pretty. I'll tell you, it's pretty thin this game as far as plays go. I guess if you don't care about salary or whatever, I guess Donovan Mitchell at 9,100. He could score some points. Rudy Gobert, he could do okay. Trae Young, I mean, you want to do that? You want to play Donovan Mitchell and Trae Young? I could certainly be down for that. When it comes to value, not really getting all that much though. What about you?
You know, last night we talked about on our early show about how Trae Young and it seems like a logical thing to do to play the Trae Young and Steph on the run back kind of a situation. Yeah. And it that crushed, but that's because Steph put up, one of the best games of this. I think it may have been the best game of the season. Was an absolute monster and a perfect matchup for him. And he was just unbelievable. That's, Trae Young on a back-to-back here. Oddly enough, this game has a larger spread than the other game does. Utah's an 8-point favorite here.
I can see that.
Yeah, I think Deandre Hunter is going to stand out because it looks like we're starving for value. But as we all know, I mean, I love Deandre Hunter as a real life player. It's just, you got to know what you're getting yourself into. Like he's become on this team, unless someone's out, and someone very well likely will be out for Atlanta tonight, is my guess. Because of the backs. Well, I don't know about that. It's likely that someone will be out. Unless one of the bigs are out, DeAndre Hunter has become basically a 3-point shooter is how he's going to get fantasy points. But his price will stand out. I think both Bogdanoviches would make the most sense at first look in this game. But really, I don't love a whole lot. So that's what makes it harder about the first game. It's hard to on a first look, to really love too much of what you see here. Maybe you could argue for Jordan Clarkson. That's not that low owned of a play. But even with what's his name, with Mitchell back, I still think there's a path for Clarkson to get there, especially if they do pull away with that second unit. Kind of like Royce O'Neal over, like, it's funny, look at Royce O'Neal's game log and look at DeAndre Hunter's game log. And it'll just show you that it's just complete perception as to why we play guys like Hunter over Royce O'Neal. The idea is that Royce O'Neal does nothing on the court. And everybody got it stuck in his head. He's the same guy all the time. Royce O'Neal's put up 31 and 36 in his last 2 games. We haven't had it. We had one game over 30 and really one game over like 25 all year for DeAndre Hunter. Royce O'Neal's basically lives there every day, and it's a good matchup for him. I think Royce O'Neal might actually be my favorite play in this game, which is not saying a lot. So as much as I want to fade the first game, this is sort of why you're going to have to eat some of the first game chalk, because there's just not a whole lot to love here on either side from a point per dollar standpoint. Having said that, though, I think I would expect some changes to be made, and that's going to sway ownership drastically. What do you got there? Okay, ready to move on to the other more interesting one, maybe? Yeah,
CJ McCollum at 7,200, Reggie Jackson at 6,300, Anthony Simons at 3,800, Terrence Mann 5,100. And then Paul George, 10-5, Lillard 9-2. I mean, why not? I mean, you know what I mean? It's a 3-game slate. I don't have to, I don't have to really justify it all that much. These guys have ceilings. This game could, might be close. Who knows? And like you said, you get an incredible leverage over all the Milwaukee, Philadelphia stuff. So I'm down. I'm down with this whole thing. I'm going to definitely play a couple with just multiple pieces of this game.
Yeah, the one I'm sort of debating as my sort of off the board play of the night is he really hasn't been great in general this year, but look at Yusuf Nurkic in his last game. He played 21 minutes. He put up 46 fantasy points in 21 minutes.
He can do that.
He has that in him. His minutes haven't been there. Partly there's been some blowouts, and partly they just aren't playing the same. I thought they'd play him to 30 minutes a game, and they really kept him underneath that.
He had 17 rebounds in 22 minutes.
That's absurd, man. But Nance and McCollum definitely stand out. I'm sorry, not Nance and McCollum. Nurkic and McCollum stand out to me, and I think that I'm looking at this as from trying to get off the board standpoint. Yeah. Another guy who fits that 4.3 mold, if we're going to play the other guys, is Robert Covington. Covington's had 26 fantasy points, over 26 fantasy points, 3 games in a row.
He sure has.
And why is Deandre Hunter going to be projected 30% owned early in the day? I won't end up that high, and Robert Covington projected at 4% owned early in the day. That just gives you a feel for how maybe things are off. And then obviously Lillard, I don't think you want to play the Lillard and McCollum, but if there was a night you could do it on the short slate would be the time to do it. I love McCollum. I mean, I think that's I don't understand why he's 7,200 all of a sudden. McCollum's my favorite. I like Norman Powell, but I think McCollum, Nurkic are my favorite. Like Nurkic, my favorite tournament play from this side, and then I like the Lillard where I'm not playing McCollum, and I like Covington as an off the board cheapo. On the Clippers side, it's interesting because Terrence Mann now is 5,100 and he's been really good. I love another guy I'm a huge fan of his real life game. He had 10 boards in the last game, had a double-double. I'm trying to decide what I want to do here. Portland's defense, we know how little I think of it. Reggie Jackson could be a kind of game for him, but he's, not like super cheap. I think he'll be popular on FanDuel where he is currently, he's 61 over there now. He got a little bit more. But look, if Terrence Mann is going to be 3 times the ownership of Nick Batum, I'll just play Nick Batum, who gets to over 30 every game. So I don't really know why we're afraid to play him anymore. So I guess if I had to rate them on the Clippers side, I would say my interest level goes probably Batum when you factor in the ownership. Batum, Jackson, then Paul George. I do think it's a good matchup for Paul George, and it's an interesting pivot off of Giannis or to play in addition to. And then the other low-owned play who always feels thin, but definitely can get there is Bledsoe.
Yeah, we had this kind of discussion over text the other day when I was between different guys. Said he does have upside.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, and welcome back. Serge Ibaka played in the last game for the first time in a while. He hasn't played in forever. Yeah. He'll cut into a little bit of the minutes of some of these guys, but I don't think it's going to be anything too substantial. I really like the Batum play ahead of the other guys personally.
Okay.
Who do you got over here?
Yeah, I mean,
you said Clipper side.
Yeah, I had Paul. Well, if you want to pay up, you can play Paul George, I think. But my favorite one is probably Reggie Jackson. Mm-hmm. And then after that, I have Mann and Bledsoe next.
Mann and Bledsoe. So
I didn't quite get to Batum yet.
See, I think Batum. So let's just take a look at why is Mann a better play than Batum. Batum outscores him every game. Last time Batum outscores him every game. Last time Mann outscored him by 1.5 fantasy points. Batum, since they've had this no Morris, has put up 33, 34, 26, and 34. Mann, in the same period of time, has put up 23, 26, 21, and 36. You have a great matchup for both sides of it.
I mean, they're similar.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're similar. One is going to have 3 or 4 times the ownership of the other one. It doesn't really make any sense to me. So when that happens, that's why I'm always just going to side with the guys like Batum here.
Yeah, also, I didn't realize. I am looking at it. I do have Terrence Mann like 25%, Batum only 10. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. So so I just think that's an interesting thing to look at. I also think that the weird play we didn't mention yet, maybe the right thing to do is on this kind of a slate play Kennard. He played 28 minutes in the last game, put up 30 fantasy points, very shooting reliant, obviously, but can get hot against a team that doesn't defend well. So I think he's kind of interesting.
Maybe the right play on the slate like this is Clint Capela.
I thought about that, and you know why I like that? I hate Capela on back-to-backs in general, but this is a great spot for it because you're going to have a big up against Rudy. And Capela last night, you know, they were getting blown out. They came back without him, so he only played 23 minutes. There's a good chance that you could see that increase tonight. I kind of like that Capela call. I think that's a way you can get.
You know, between him and Nurkic, what's Nurkic's price?
Nurkic is 74.
What I like about both those plays, they're both like right in that Drummond range. I mean, it's right there.
Yep. And look, I'm not saying I'm not going to play Drummond by the end of the day. It's absolutely possible that I do in my main lineups. I'll probably have a couple main lineups tonight because I have a feeling, you know, I don't have a feeling. I know for sure we're going to hear something before the game starts tonight. We do every single day, so I'm never going to say I have a feeling. It's going to have to be how we react to those things. I do think I want to get more exposure to this game and the Atlanta game than I would if they all start at the same time. I wouldn't be as interested in these games, and I would probably eat more of the chalk. I just feel like you're going to hear something, especially with Atlanta on the back-to-back, that could open up some things potentially after lock. And we've seen it basically every day. We haven't had that many 3-game slates, but in general it happens. So I've got through, you know, to sort of sum up my part of it. I've got Giannis as priority play, some for tournament reasons, some for just because you need the points. Giannis, Holiday. I mentioned the Milton or Korkmaz. You could play one or the other or both. I will mix Drummond in. I just don't know if I'm going to have the same ownership the field will be on him. McCollum, I love. Batum, I love as the pivot off the other. I think Kennard is a sneaky play, and I want to see what happens with the starting lineup with the Sixers. I don't think Reed is going to start, but I do have a lot of interest in Reed as Reed and Niang, because they didn't play. They were the ones who played the least minutes yesterday, and we could definitely see those minutes increase on the back-to-back. But I kind of agree that Milwaukee may just end up slamming them in that game. So getting the bench guys, the guys who are going to play no matter what, might be a good way to go.
Yeah, Giannis is my favorite play. I think he's, you know, the most likely to, you know, to get there out of anybody. He'll get there in a blowout. He'll get there in a close game. I like him the best. And then I'm looking for an excuse to fade Drummond. I don't really need one. I'm just going to do it. And that is going to probably lead me to mostly the Portland Clippers. But we'll see how it goes. I'm not going to be around live. But if Bobby's live, maybe I'll just try to chime in the Discord or something like that if I have any changes. And we've got to get already prepared for tomorrow's 13-gamer.
Yeah, that's going to be a big one. We'll revisit it, guys. I'll get my projections, my plays up on the site, and we will go from there. And it's hard with the NBA these days. I always feel bad after we do our shows. I'm like, I want to take more strong takes. I want to have more strong takes, but I don't want to force things that I don't know yet. You know what I mean? It's just there's a lot I'm considering. I want to look more into the Philly situation and see what the rotations could be. And I'll have that stuff at 6:30. I just don't have it yet.
All right.
Good luck to everybody. And we will be coming with you with the golf video very shortly. Good luck all.